of times we are wanting to know how does people bring attention to their business or even to themselves? How do they get the right people attracted to them in their life? How can they be recognized for promotion? How can they just stand out, And one of the things that I want to share today is, I want to ask you the question, what is your X factor? And you may not know exactly what that is, but I'm going to go into the details about X factor and how we can begin to add something a little special to what we do to actually get noticed, okay? So let's get started. So what is X factor? Basically, one of the things the X factor is that exclusive star quality that's kind of difficult to define because it's a little different in everyone who possesses it. You know it's something there, but you don't know exactly what it is. You can't put your finger on it like, it's something about that person that just stands out and just seems so different. I just can't put my hands on it, but this person just kind of, it kind of stands out among all the other people. This person stands out. Or, your presentation stand out, or we can even relate this to a business. So the same X factor that I'm going to be talking about in our personality and the way we in our person, we also can have that same X factor in our business. Okay, so that it's that special ingredient also. It's something special about that person. You can't put your finger on it, but it's something special. That secret sauce, I call it. What is it? What is that thing that's there that's causing you to stand out and make you different? That secret ingredient. It's the ultimate feature that separates you from average. That's that X factor. And we all need that. We're aspiring to do great things. We're aspiring to do different things in our life and to attain, have more things of what we want. So we want to be able to progress and to get to those things faster, but we're going to have to add some more to our life, a little spice, that special ingredient. We're going to have to add that secret sauce and that secret ingredient into our life so that we can get those things on a more accelerated level. And it's called the X factor. So how do we develop the X factor? Let's talk about it. One of the things you have to do is you got to be original. You got to be unique. And you don't get the X factor by becoming a carbon copy of somebody else. It just won't happen. We can admire people. We have our mentors. We have these different people that have excelled far, far beyond, and we're wanting to actually get where they are. So we kind of emulate them. We watch them. We follow them. We do all these different things to see what's happening and how they do things. But when it all comes down to it, we have to develop our own X factor by being our own person and bring about our own originality and our own uniqueness to the table. And that's going to make a big difference. So that's the first thing. That's how you're going to have to focus on being you. And then one of the things that I recommend is that you take an inventory of all of your skills and your talents. Sometimes people say, well, I don't really, I don't have a whole lot of skills. I don't have a whole lot of talents. Well, they haven't really taken a real good inventory of that. And they can go back, all the way to your childhood, all the way to now, and things that you've learned and things that you've done, have enjoyed doing over your life span. But, you take this inventory looking at the things that you do well or the things that you know how to do. You don't have to do it well yet, but you might have the skill or talent or gift to do something. So I want you to basically just choose at least one of those that you want to make and take to the next level. And you want to be able to test by adding this star quality, this uniqueness. You want to be able to take it to the next level. So basically, if you have a skill and you want to make it better, you want to begin to practice it and hone in on that skill or talent. Is what I'm asking you to do. So you choose at least one. So this is how you're going to develop your X factor in this skill, in this area of your life. The next thing is once you practice, it's going to require you practicing, taking time out, and practice is really like buffing a coin. The more you buff a coin, the more it shines. So the more you spend time practicing your skill, working at it, hours after hours after hours. I mean, we see these athletes. I mean, when they hone in on their skills, they hone in. They practice for hours. Those that are trained for the Olympics, they practice all day long. They're honing in on that skill, that one talent, and they're doing everything it takes. They're putting their whole mind, body, and soul into it to make it and to perfect it. So they're like buffing that coin. They're constantly buffing, and more it buffs, guess what? The more that coin shines. So likewise, when you practice and when you perfect a skill, you might not become perfect, but you're going to become close to, you're going to perfect it in a way that it's going to become as forth as excellence, and it's going to begin to shine. So the thing that you want to do, though, is that you may be doing all this at home, and nobody else knows what's going on. Nobody else knows you got this skill, you got this talent, because it's just you and your thing. You got it going on. So what you need to do next is you got to let your light shine. How are you going to let it shine? Okay, you buffed it. It's ready. Now you have to come out and you got to let other people know. You got to, don't hide your skill. Don't hide your talent or your gift. You got to begin to share it with other people. You got to begin to share it with other people. That's the key. And as you begin to share it, some things are going to start to happen. After you share that skill, that talent or gift that you've honed in and that you brought to an excellent level, and you starting to share it with people, now you want to add your special twist or your own unique style on top of that skill, on top of that talent, on top of that gift that you've developed. And guess what? You will have developed an X factor. That will be an X factor that will cause you to get attention. That X factor will cause people to notice you. They will cause you to recognize and say, who is this person? What do they have? It's that it's going to cause people to say, I want to know more about this individual. I want to know more about your business. There's something different about you. So let's talk about some of the other qualities that a person, that what they have when they have the X factor, some of the other qualities they may have. Okay? They make others feel special. And these people who have this certain thing, this X factor, can usually make whomever they're talking to feel like a movie star. Feel like $1 million. They just know how to make people feel good just by conversating with them. And it's like, wow, I felt great just talking to that person. Man, I feel inspired, or, something's different just by having that conversation with that person that had an X factor, you engaging with that personality. Another quality is they speak confidently and expressively. And sometimes they even speak quick, And people that express themselves confidently are often related to as charismatic. They're rather than those that speak slowly and monotone. So we think about our president for one. He's a charismatic type person. He expresses himself. He communicates well, and he's got that X factor. We can recognize it in people. We just don't know how to put our finger on exactly what it is, but he's very charismatic. So these are some of the qualities, some of the other qualities that people have who has the X factor. Now here's a quote that I wrote. Your X factor will cause you to be sought after. Your X factor will cause you to be sought after. So if you all, when you, after this is over, if you really like this message, I want you to go to your Facebook or, and put that quote out there with my name, and, do a hashtag or whatever, however you want to do it, but your X factor will cause you to be sought after. Okay? Now let's talk about some common factors. Now we said X factor. Now let's talk about the common factors that these people with X factors share. So people with X factors share common factors, and I want to kind of review those with you. What are those common factors? The first is effective communication. They communicate well. They are great communicators. When you have an X factor, you're an individual, you learn how to communicate. So that's telling us something. We have to work on effective communication. Another thing is they are great listeners. They know how to listen. And they also know how to manage their body language, because all of that together will tell us and all get our message, communicate our message based on how we're speaking, how we're listening, and our body language together. So here's some ways that we can improve our communication skills. The first thing I want us to do is to watch your body language. Because your body language or your posture should match what you're verbally communicating in your words. Now in this picture, the person's arms are folded. Now if you're saying, okay, I'm open to having a conversation with you, but your arms are folded across you that way, then you're really saying, your body language is saying, I'm not really open. I'm closed off. I don't really want to conversate right now. So, we have to be very careful about how we're communicating, and to make sure that our body language is communicating and matching what we're speaking with our mouths verbally. Okay? So that's what the first thing. All right, let's look at the next one. Let's look at some examples here. I thought this was kind of neat. I saw this image, and we can kind of look at the different body languages here. You see the first one that says defensive, how the individual's kind of sitting back on his seat, and he's got his arms folded over, and the other person's probably giving an evaluation across the table, but he's just extremely defensive. So whatever she's telling him, he's not going to really get it. He's not really listening because he's already in a defensive mode. This other person, the arrogant guy, as you communicate with him, he may not receive anything because he knows everything, So his body language is representing and saying, hey, I know more than you, so what do you don't have anything to offer me. And this other lady, annoyed, she, how she's leaning forward, she's got her arms crossed and her body language is forward, and look at her facial expressions. She's like, I'm just annoyed. I don't really want to be talking to you right now. And so we have to be more conscious of how we're holding our body, what we're doing with our body when we're trying to communicate a message. If we want to feel friendly and to be enthusiastic and all that, we have to make sure that we're not doing these. Here's some others: irritated. Then there's the happy guy and the confused guy and the worried woman. So just think about what you're doing. Now I thought this one was nice. I labeled this as confidence. Everybody in this image look like they're pretty confident. Their stance, their posture, their shoulders back, head up, holding themselves a certain way, hands out like, hey, I'm open, I want to, welcome you. Just real confident type postures and body language and stance. So think about that this week as you want to hone in and improve your communication skill. You want to not just look at what you're speaking, but what your body's saying as well. Okay? So that is our body language. Now, the next thing is, and this is something I'm focusing on. You'll probably hear me say this, some of these fillers sometime. So this is one of the challenges that I'm challenging myself even to improve my communication skills. And so it's to get rid of unnecessary conversation fillers. And it's easy to do. You know, sometimes it's difficult to just pause and have that silent moment, but it's okay. When we need to pause, rather than saying and ah in between certain sentences, we need to just take a pause. That's the thing. So ums and ahs do little to improve our speech in our everyday conversation. But because we do it so often, when it's time to really communicate effectively and you want to create a certain message, we have to be more conscious of what we're saying and take pauses in between when we're not ready to say the next thing. So one of the things we want to do is try to cut them out to be more persuasive and to feel or appear more confident. So when we take those ums and ahs out, we will appear and feel more confident, and we'll be more persuasive in our communication and what we're saying. So get rid of the conversation fillers. Next, tell a story. Now, telling a story is always good. Our pastor is great at this. I mean, he is a great storyteller. And one of the things, even one of my mentors in the business world, he's a great storyteller. So, and even some of the great speakers that we have listened to over the years, and some of those that are in the forefront now, they are great storytellers. So one of the things I'm adding to my communication style is to tell stories more. Because for one, stories are powerful, and I believe that stories can illustrate our message. If we're trying to, whatever message we're trying to get across, if we tell a story behind it, then it connects the people to what we're trying to say. It's like an aha moment. It causes a light bulb to come on when you have a story to share, to tie it to it. So think about something when you really want to present something to a client, when you want to present something to a prospect, when you want to present something to a whole group of people. You want to think about what message you want to share, and then think about a story that could go with it to connect that. And I'll add to this, if you're doing a presentation like the one here, add pictures. Because pictures also illustrate, and they also help to bring out a message and help you to tie in what you're trying to communicate. Stories make presentations interesting, and they make us more persuasive as well. Ask questions. Ask questions and repeat the other person. Now, this is something that we've used in our training when we're working with couples over the years. We've gotten certifications and working with couples and different things. And one of the communication styles that we use to train is to tell, you need to ask questions. And the way you do that is you ask questions and you repeat the other person's last few words. And that shows that you're interested in what they're saying. And basically, you're repeating what they say. Did you say, are you saying that you want to spend more time reviewing the reports prior to sending them to the next person for publication? And so that's like a statement that I'm just made to a person that's sitting there that's wanting to know, what am I going to do the report? They're communicating to me, they want me to review the reports before I send them out to publish. Okay? So if they just told me that and I repeated it, and then they can come back and reply and say, yes, that is what I'm saying, or no, that is not what I'm saying. So that's why it's important to ask the question and repeat the last few words to make sure that you're clear on what they're trying to express to you. And asking questions keeps you on your toes for sure, because it helps you to clarify the points that could be misunderstood. Just like I said, the person could say, no, that's not exactly what I meant. What I meant to say, or what I want to say is this. And they repeat it, then you repeat it again, then they say, yes, that's exactly what I mean. So it helps to clarify, brings clarity, and it prevents miscommunication. So that's another thing that you want to add to your arsenal with effective communication. Ask questions and repeat. Next, you want to also tailor your message to your audience. Now, for me, I actually with my total vision or my vision message, where I'm saying I'm being told and being labeled as the vision building expert. And I've been in different settings, where I've been in school settings, classroom settings, I've been in business settings, I've been in church settings, and even couples settings, with couples and entrepreneur settings. I had different groups of people that I'm presenting to. So every time I go to these different groups, I'm talking the same message really, but I have to tailor it to meet my audience. When I was speaking to kids, my message for vision building is more specifically talking about goal setting as relates to their academics and their sports and their hobbies and things like that. So I had to tailor my message to fit them. Now, when I went in an entrepreneur setting, when I was flown out to Nassau to teach a team of entrepreneurs, my message was totally different, because all these were business people, and they, were they were already working and in the middle of making a lot of money with their company. So what I was teaching them is really how to take it to the next level with the total vision and building, and how to really turn that vision into something almost like a visual masterpiece to help them stay motivated and help them stay focused. So I had to tailor my message for the different audiences, and that's what you have to do. And the best communicators adjust how they talk based on who they're talking to. That's what we have to remember. You adjust how you talk based on who you're talking to. And then always try to keep the other person's perspective in mind when you try to get your message across. If I'm talking to kids, I know their perspective is going to be totally different. I have to make sure I'm adjusting my message so they'll understand what I'm trying to say. So tailor your message to your audience. Another way of improving our communication skills is to up your empathy. You want to have a little bit more empathy, more compassion, and developing empathy helps you to better understand even the unspoken parts of communication with others, and it helps you to respond more effectively. So the next time you're in the conversation with a coworker or with your significant other, try to have empathy in that conversation as you're listening to see what if they're expressing different emotions, and then you can say, okay, I understand. I can relate. I can't relate, or I can relate, but you're actually communicating to them to let them know that you really you want to be there for them, even if you can't change the situation, but you are there. So you kind of upping your empathy in that respect. And lastly is to really, really listen. You want to really listen. There you go. I have the there. But to improve your communication skills is to learn to really listen. So you kind of remove any distractions so that you can focus your attention on the person that you're talking to. If it's a one-on-one conversation, and usually that's when you have to have the effective listening skills, when it's one-on-one. You want to be able to hear what people are saying. When you're presenting, you're not really having to worry about listening, because you are on the stage. You are the speaker. You're the one that's communicating. So you want to pay attention and let the other person talk without interrupting. That's one of the biggest things when you're doing a one-on-one conversation. You want to allow that person to communicate, to share, to finish their sentence. I know at times you can be excited about the next thing, you be thinking about what you want to say next, and it's hard to hold your words and restrain yourself, because you really want to say what you got to say. But effective listening is to allow that person to complete their sentence, to finish, and then after they pause, then you come and you say what you have to say. And some people say, well, I might forget what I want to say. Well, it'll come back to you, but you don't want to you don't want to interrupt. Or you may ask, may I say this one thing? And then you go on, and then they finish what they have to say. So, but you got to have that dialogue going on back and forth. But the main thing is to allow them to speak. You pay attention without interrupting. So that's when you're listening. And you can start, after you listen, if you do that ask and repeat thing, you'll really be effective at listening. They'll say, wow, you really were listening. You understood. You said exactly what I just said. And that's what I meant. So it's really neat. So try it. Try that. Add these things to your arsenal of effective communication, and add that to what I talked about with X Factor, and you will begin to get a different response. You'll begin to get noticed in ways that you never thought you could. And also, doors will begin to open for you, because one of the things that's scriptural is that when you have a gift, and that your gift will make room for you, and it will open doors for you. And when you allow your gift to shine, allow your light to shine, your talent and skill, that X factor, whatever it is, you begin to share it with other people, people are going to start noticing. They're going to start sharing. And now with this world of technology that we're in, the social media world, people are sharing all the time. So just like this, if you really like this presentation, I'm going to post it, I'm going to send it out, and I want you to send it to your friends. I want you to share it with other people so they'll be able to see how they can improve and gain their own X factor. Post a comment on my Facebook page, and that's at Mind Your Vision, facebook.com/Mind Your Vision. If you can post a comment just to say, hey, I really like this presentation on how to get noticed, and really developing my X factor, and even talk about maybe some of the skills that you want to hone in and you want to really use and to really get noticed in that way. And also visit my website, moreofrachel.com, because one of my goals is to reach more people, and I'm posting every week a message. Every week I'm sharing a teaching to really help you become better, to help we can all become better. And as we use our gifts and talents, we're going to make a better world all together. And so I really hope you all enjoyed this message. Now I'm going to